like telling Tyler, you're only as tough as you tell yourself you are. You can deal with whatever. Everybody thought I was just, oh, he's just dirty, rotten tough. Well, that's because I told myself I was. My dad drilled it in my head when I was young, like, unless both your legs are broke, then you get your ass up and walk out of that arena. Like, you don't lay around out there, If both of them are broke, then you crawl. And then when I came around, my generation, I had J.W. Hart, Justin McBride, Ross Coleman, all them guys were in the locker room. And if you were a little bit weak-hearted when you rode, the last place you want to go was that locker room, because it got 10 times worse when you got in there. So I made sure I was never the butt of any jokes about not trying. I made sure I tried until my head hit the ground. And then it just kind of, once I realized it myself, I could do it no matter how bad I was hurting. I could put it out of my mind, and it was easy after that. Like, everybody's like, oh, you're going to ride, your legs broke. I said, I don't need them. I'm not running a marathon, I'm riding. I'll crawl when I hit the ground.
JB, what's it like to be retired?
Oh, well, you can ask Tyler. He helped the guys I hired to do all the welding, all them pins, all that pipe put in. He cut most of that pipe up there, and two other boys, they're welders. They built all of it, and it was funny. They're putting in some asphalt plant deal or something. He went over there once or twice. They made him wear a gas monitor, all kinds of crap, and he's like, hell with this. So he called me, and he was like, any help doing anything over there? I don't want to go to that asphalt plant deal. And I was like, yeah, I got a lot of fences that need to be redone, stuff like that, corner posts putting in, braces and all that. And so I come over here, and the first day we did it, I went to welding, and he's like, holy shit, you can weld. I said, I never said I couldn't, I just didn't have the time to build all the crap y'all did. And so since then, that's all we've been doing every day. And but being retired, it sucks. It's way easier to grab my rigging bag and go to a bull riding than having to work. Being around here kind of helps with being retired. I mean, from the time, I started riding sheep when I was 3, and then I got on my first big bull when I was 13. So from 13 to 36, that's all I ever did was ride bulls. And, taking something that's the biggest part of my life I did, and then just not being able to do it anymore. It was like, I'm good with it. I knew eventually I was gonna have to retire. It worked out the best way it could. Was I ready to give it up? No, but I'd have never been ready to give it up. A buddy of mine, Randy, he said, man, I just hate it ended the way it did. And I said, why? He said, you didn't end it on your own terms. I said, it was always gonna happen like this. I knew that. Something was gonna have to happen where they had to tell me that I couldn't ride anymore, because the way I went about my whole career was never quit, So I'd have never been able to tell myself I couldn't do it. And, the way it happened, it worked out. I'm still upright. I can do everything I was doing before except ride bulls. Pretty much that surgeon told me I land on my head again. There's 2 outcomes. I'm either dead or I'm in a wheelchair the rest of my life. So I can still ride horses, I work bulls, and being around bulls every day kind of fills the void of not being able to get on bulls. And then like Tyler coming and getting on practice bulls, we bucked bulls yesterday. And, being around it double-edged sword. Yeah, you want to be doing it, but I'm still able to be around it and right in the middle of it, so it kind of fills the gap of not being able to ride. And looking at this, now that I've got a lot more time, I can work on stuff I need to.
What about just that bull that kind of the last one you rode? It's actually funny, it's literally in the pasture right next door.
Oh yeah, we'll walk up there and look at him here in a minute.
Okay, all right.
Arctic, he, out of all the mean bulls in my career that I got on, and the dog gentle one that acts like a big dog's one that ended it all. But
what does that mean? He's like friendly?
Oh, real friendly, like a big dog. scratch all over him, down his legs, all over his back, and he's kind of intimidating because he's pretty good size. So when you walk out there, like he'll walk right up on top of you. The only thing you have to worry about is if he steps on your foot on accident. But I mean, just gentle, not a mean bone in his body. And that's what I told somebody, out of all the mean bulls I got on in my career, and this is the one that ended it. But that's what Matt retired him, so I said, well, he retired me, and now he gets to retire with me. So him, there's another bull up there with him, and he acts just like him. They're both big pets. The friend of mine, Randy, him and his dad raised the other one, and they bucked him. He's older now, and he's just a big old pet. And his dad was getting out of the bull business and didn't have anywhere for him to go. I said, hell, send him here. So he brought him, so I put the 2 yard ornaments together in the pasture. That's where they stay. You know, the only time if we catch them, well, hell, you don't even have to catch them to worm them. You can walk out there and just dump the wormer down their back. And, you know, but they stay in that pasture, and that's where they live till their days are over.
What did he do to buck you off? Do you remember did he make a move and you didn't?
Yeah, I know exactly what happened. I round-assed off the son of a gun. It was my fault. He got a little age. That bull used to be really, really good, buck hard around the right. And he got some age to him, so he kind of lost a step. But he turned back, he kicked around the first corner, and I sat on my ass. And when I sat on my ass, he kind of drug his, and it set me down even farther. So when he kicked the next round, I was behind. His hip caught me, and when it caught me, it just pitched me out of there. And I mean, I've landed on my head like I did that night a million times. I was trying to get turned in the air, so I'd land on my hands and knees and didn't get turned all the way over. Just landed on the back corner of my head. And at the time when I first hit, like my left leg, my left foot, and my right ankle were broken when I went to Lewiston. My legs were shot. I didn't know which leg to limp on. And when I first hit the ground, I was like, whew, thank God I didn't step on my legs. And I rolled over, and when I put my hands down, pushed to get up, I felt it. It felt like somebody stuck a hot knife right in the back of my neck. And I broke my back before, so I knew. I was like, son of a bitch, I just broke my neck. And I got up, or I was trying to get up. I was walking on my knees, and Shane Proctor, another guy, he jumped out there and helped me back in the buck and shoot. And he said, you all right? And I said, I just broke my neck. And he said, don't move. I said, that bull gone? He said, yeah. I said, let me out of this chute. And I just walked out. One of the bullfighters, he said, you all right? Broke my neck. Just kept walking, walked straight to the paramedics and sat down on a picnic table. And they were, I guess, I walked out nonchalant, you know, acting like nothing. They were like, so what's going on? I was like, my neck's broke. And they were like, oh God. They went to freaking out, and they were trying to figure out what they're supposed to do. And they're like, oh, we need to put a neck brace on you. I was like, that'd probably be pretty smart. And
that's when Hawk quit. They were like, let's get a cigarette.
Yeah, I was sitting there. Kai and them guys were helping me because I had a walking boot on my right foot when I showed up there. My left foot was swelled up, looked like it was about to fall off, and so we were swapping, taking my riding boots off, and we got the walking boot on my right one, a tennis shoe back on my left one, and Hawk, a boy from Montana, he's like, you need anything? They've got the neck brace on me, and I was like, nah, I'm all right. He goes, what about a cigarette? I was like, yeah, because where I'm headed, they're not gonna let me smoke, give me one. So I fired it up, and I'm surprised nobody took a picture of it. I had my neck brace, they had me in that neck brace. They're trying to start the IV in my arm, and I'm just burning one down.
What's it, you know, kind of, can you run us through your injuries that you've had just over time?
Shit.
Do you have an hour?
We got about 8 hours to go through all this.
It's not an easy gig doing what you guys did.
Oh no, you got to take the good with the bad. That's part of it. And that was another thing my dad drilled in my head, because my dad didn't ride bulls. He steer wrestled, amateur steer wrestler. And you know, once I got old enough to understand, he told me, he said, all you're doing is tearing your body up. And he said, and this is your decision to do this. And I said, yeah. He goes, you play the game, you take the pain. And I lived by that my whole life. It was my decision, you know. So, and everybody said, well, what are you going to do when you're so old and you can't get out of bed and crippled up? I said, I guess I'll just lay there and think about all the good times I had. I said, because I'm 37 now, and I've done more in my life than most people will ever get to do or see, and had a blast doing it. That was the thing. it wasn't a job to me, it was fun. It's what I love doing, and it was fun. Just so happens I was able to make a living doing it. And let's see, first real bad one was right after I turned 18. Bull stomped me in my stomach, broke all my ribs on my right side, lacerated my liver, bruised my kidneys, my spleen. They told me I shouldn't have made it 5 feet and been dead. Spent 8 or 9 days in the hospital there. Supposed to wait 8 months, I think. Go back to riding, I waited 4. And I broke both sides of my jaw, broke my eye socket, missing a few teeth. It don't take me very long to brush my teeth anymore. Bulls knocked them out. Got a plate and screws in my left hand, a screw and 13 anchors in my shoulder. Got a plate against my pelvis, reattaching the growing muscle back to the pelvis where it was supposed to be. I ripped it off the bone. Blowed out both knees. I don't have an ACL, MCL, or PCL in my right knee, no ACL or MCL in my left knee. You'd have to ask Tandy what's wrong with my left elbow. It don't straighten all the way out. I tore something in it and never had it. I just put a brace on it. And there's the right groin after they put the plate in, reattached it. I think I went to physical therapy. They told me to go back to riding. I got on 8 bulls, ripped the groin muscle completely in 2. Never had it reattached, so that groin's completely ripped in half. Right hip, gosh, everything you could think that's wrong with a hip is wrong with that one. Bone spurs, calcium buildup, hip impingement where the ball won't rotate all the way around in the socket, tendons ripped completely in half in between it. They've probably 10 years now, Tandy told me when I finished riding bulls I needed a hip replacement. And I probably needed, you can ask him, some days I bebop around here fine, and some days it's like I'm about 98. It don't work right at all.
Well, I wanted to ask, anybody at home would hear you lose that off and say, why the hell is this guy going? There's got to be something that kept you going back to the ride.
Oh yeah.
Is it thrill? Is it what is it?
It's one, you love it, but there's no feeling in this world that will compare to when you're 92 points and you step off a bull and everybody in that building's hooping and hollering. And for me, what really made me realize I made a good ride was when I turned around and the guys that were on the back of the bucket chutes that also do it for a living are cheering just as loud as the people in the stands. Then you know you did something right.
Then that Vice piece,
Yeah.
years back, said, I don't pick the tame ones.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't do you any good.
I felt like I rode bulls that bucked harder. I felt like I rode better. For me, when I'd crawl in the chute, like I was telling him the other day, you try to stay as calm and relaxed as you can.
Yeah.
No thinking. You never let them see you sweat. And if I was going up against a really ranked bull, one that bucks really hard, then I would know, like, I better be firing on all cylinders. It's go time. You get on one like a practice bull or something, your motor's not running quite as hard, and it was just different. And I felt like I always rode bulls that bucked harder, better. And for sure, for me, a lot of pride went into it too. So if somebody showed up with a bull they said nobody could ride, I was like, let me pick that one. And that's just how I went about it. I always figured if I wanted to be the best, I had to get on the best bulls to do it.
Do you think Bushwhacker was your most difficult bull to get 8 on?
Yeah. I got on him. I attempted him 13 times, only rode him once. And a few of these scars where my goatee does not grow anymore came from him.
Wow. What happened on those? He does everything.
Yeah, like 13 times I attempted him, he never did the same thing twice. Like, he was really, really smart. And he wasn't mean at all. Like, didn't have a mean bone in his body. You roll him in the buck and chute, and you could sit on him. If he was leaning one way, you could just take your knee and push him, and he would just step over for you. Like, he wasn't bad, he wasn't mean, he wasn't nothing. And that's what I was like, God dang, this is kind of bullshit, because he stands like a show steer in here, and he's getting ready to buck his ass off. It's almost like he's waiting on you to be like, all right, come on. go ahead and try.
Yeah, and obviously y'all are breeding.
Yeah.
Are you trying to breed them for the PBR?
Well, I mean, it's giving me something to play around with. I usually don't keep bulls. That's what everybody. How many bulls you got? It depends on what day it is. Because you pull in here and you see a bull you like, if you offer me the right price, he's going home with you.
Well, what about just the fact that, we kind of caught wind that, breeding a bull that's unrideable, is that the goal?
Yeah, somewhat. Like you.
What better way of
Oh yeah.
JB Mauney giving a bull that's, the guy who rode the baddest one theoretically in PBR, then
Pretty much I do it because I like messing with bulls. I don't make no living at it. I mean, I've told people, they always ask me, can you make money in the bull business? Oh yeah. If you want to be a millionaire, you better start out a billionaire. Because you'll lose a lot of it. You'll be out here doing shit like this or paying to have shit like this done, because they're like having 1,800-pound 3-year-olds. They tear up everything and they can do it. Like, this fence is here, but if they wanted to leave, they'll tear this sumbitch completely out of the ground. Like this brand new fence we put up, if they want to bad enough, it's destroyed. I mean, they can tear up whatever they want to. It's kind of like a invisible dog fence for a dog. They can run through it if they absolutely want to, but they'll just kind of obey it. And that's about how bulls are. That's why all those pens and everything up there are built the way they are. They're all pipe, everything. Like, they're not getting out of that shit. And because you can ask him, the bulls I'd show up with, they're 5, 6-year-old bulls, never been tipped, so their horns are sharp. They've been running wild their whole lives. Probably seen a human once in their life, and yeah, pretty much mavericks. And they're wild, mean, and they can tear some shit up.
Would you think that's ever going to happen in the future though? That you feel like you have a JB Mauney bull PBR?
I mean, I would like to.
Because you kind of have this legend around you.
Yeah, I would like. I mean, wouldn't mind me. But my problem is, if I get a good one and I think they need to go somewhere, I'll sell them. I won't hold them, and because somebody said, "Oh, you gonna haul bulls now?" I said, "No, I'm not hauling bulls. That means I'd have to go just as hard as I was going when I was rodeoing." I said, now being at home, I've realized I kind of like being at home. I get a lot more stuff done, and that's my problem. Like, guys will hold on to them bulls, and the bad thing is, like, you get a really, really good bull. If you got a sorry one, you can't hurt that son of a gun no matter what. But the best one you got can be in the best pen and somehow he'll hurt himself. It always happens that way.
Or he'll check and he'll be dead.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what goes into making a bull? Like bushwhackers, I guess, an extreme example. Well, what goes into making a bull like that, or is it just something that's in them?
It's bred into them. You can't make them do anything they don't want to do. They're too big. And like dealing with all the people that think it's cruel and everything, and you tie their testicles up. Would you buck if you had your testicles tied up? No. It's just like a belt on us. And it's everybody. I read a comment the other day when they put the deal out in the Washington Post. Somebody said, yeah, they put a leather strap around their testicles. I'm like, where do you even get this? Like, where's this come from? Like, educate yourself before you go. And I mean, it's a cotton rope. It's about that big. It don't hurt. It's soft, and it's got a ring on it so you can tie it. But it goes right in front of their back legs. And if you accidentally get their testicles in it, they will not buck. They will run straight and never kick. And so, like, it's kind of up to them. And breeding them, you can have the best bloodlines ever. It's still like flipping a quarter whether they want to do it or not. It's like the racehorse business. You can take the best mare and the best stud, breed the son gun, and the dang colt might be a dud. If he don't want to run, he don't want to run. You can't make them. And that's the same way with the bucking bull. They've come up, they got little dummies you can put on them when they're calves and stuff like that. So, like on a pasture on the other side over there, I've got, there's probably 35 or 40 head of 2-year-olds. And we've went through them, put the dummy on them and try them a little bit. And that's about the only thing. You put the dummy on them, see if they're going to try to buck, and it comes with a remote. You just click it and everything falls off of them. But all that really is just handling them, bending around, get them to calm down. Once they settle, then they'll probably buck better.
Yeah. When you're going to be coaching, that starts in June, right?
Yep, July.
Do you think being around it that close and in person is going to give you that itch? I mean, what are you going to do? You probably will be. What are you going to do?
I'll put it to you this way. When I wake up in the mornings, I got the itch. And when I go to bed at night, I got the itch. I just can't scratch it anymore. And somebody said, well, you get on this one. And I said, I'm not worried about the riding part. It's the dismount part that would get me. Because for a long time, the past 20 years, evidently my head weighs more than my feet. Because when I went up, my head came down first. And, you know, I always said, like, retirement, somebody said they were having a retirement party. I said, that's not a party, that's a quitter's party. And I said, I'm not a quitter. So the way it happened, that's what I said, I didn't have to make the decision. I don't feel like I quit. It was made for me. You know?
What do you think you're coaching these kids, or these people, they look up to you? So it's almost like you were kind of like, you know, telling us about all the stuff in regard to how you ride and what's like been kind of instilled in you. What are they like around you? Are they kind of like, I mean, you're a pretty easygoing person to meet, but I'm not trying to ride a bull either. So it's almost like, what are those folks kind of getting from JB Mauney, or coach from your perspective?
You can ask him. If you put the effort out and you try, I'll help you every day of my life. But the first time I see you be weak-hearted, you'll never come back to this place ever again. That's just the way I go about it. Like, I can't stand it. And in this profession, if you got that much backup in you, you're done. You might as well sell the rigging bag and never try it again, because you're going to get hurt bad. When you're not all in is when most of the time you see guys get hurt. And, you know, for me, that stands out more than anything. Like when we were Brandon, the GM of the team, he was asking me about how I was going to pick, and, you know, with the guys I wanted to pick, I said, like, as long as they got to try, I don't care. He's like, well, the talent. And I said, it doesn't matter. You can teach somebody how to ride a bull, but you can't teach try. They're either born with it or without it. There's no in between. And because growing up, there was another guy from North Carolina, Brian Canner, we were the same age. Like, everything he did, he just could do it. Wakeboarding. First time he did, just pops right up. Snowboarding, just rides a snowboard. Like, that's how he was. He was good at everything. I was the opposite side of the coin. Bull riding, I didn't look the best. I didn't make the correct moves. I was whipping around making moves I didn't have to. But the one thing I did do was I tied my hand in there where that thing was not coming out. So I was either, when that whistle blew, I was either on their back or I was dragging up underneath them. And everybody always asked me, they said, why don't you tie your hand in there and take out your wrap like the way you do? I said, I don't want the sun gun coming out. They said, why? I said, I'd rather drag to death than starve to death any day. So when I tied it in there, I meant for it to be there.
Got that air hammer out.
Well, no, he's ratcheting that cutter. I bet. Come here. Come on. Big lazy ass up here. Come on. Come on. Come on.
So he was bucking last year. He was on the road. He's done now, though? Or?
Yeah, he's retired. This is where he'll live out his life. Come on, biggin. He does not go anywhere in a hurry. Come on. Which side? This side. He's the one that ended it all. So the bull I was on when I broke my neck. So he retired me, and Matt and his partner, they decided that I could have him. They were going to retire him, so he sent him to me, and this is where he'll live the rest of his life.
He's like a big dog.
Like a big dog. And then if you stop scratching him,